Hello and welcome. It's Saturday. Saturday Sessions. It's back after a small little hiatus. I had some personal changes, and I think that's where I'm going to start with. Okay, first off, I moved. I moved to a different country, a brand new city, a city that I've already visited several times, and also a country as well that I visited several times. But moving from one place to another, it can be chaotic, it can be stressful, it's full of anxiety, and one way that a lot of us addicts would deal with that, of course, in the past, right, is to kind of self-medicate it with either masturbation or with pornography. But guess what, right? Once you are reached that recovery stage or phase, and there's other positive ways that you can deal with that. So I was able to effectively not fall back, right? I didn't relapse even after all of this time, right? So that's something I just wanted to share. That's a victory, and it's not just a victory for me, it's a victory for all of you who are struggling with sobriety, who have reached a certain point, maybe trying to push beyond 1 year or 90 days, or maybe even just 1 week. We're all in this together. So my little victory, even after it's been all these years, is also a victory for you. Second big change is, perhaps you've noticed already, I like when I'm talking, I use my hands. I mean, you notice I've got a ring on. I got married. And wow, I'm just, well, obviously, right, some obvious statements. I'm really happy. I'm so much in love. I can't actually describe the feeling. But those of you that are married or have been married, remember. I mean, for some maybe it's a challenge, but dig deep. Remember how you felt for the romance. Remember how you felt that first kind of honeymoon year, or maybe a few months. So I'm still riding high on that. But those are the two big changes that occurred, and with that, of course, life intercedes. It gets complicated. I was still posting on social media, and I was still also kind of making some video content for a brand new course I'm going to be rolling out rather soon. But the Saturday sessions took a back seat. But no more. I'm back at that, dedicated to putting a Saturday session content out for those of you that are going to be watching. Another personal goal. I'm not quite 40 years old, but I made a checklist, kind of a personal goal that I was going to run some kind of endurance race. And those of you that are in the know, or if not, you can definitely Google it. It's called a Spartan race. They've got different levels. It's all throughout the world, and I was able to, after some intense training, I participated in my first Spartan race just about three weeks ago now. It was fantastic. Body hurt, obviously, afterwards, even despite some massage and putting on the gels and so forth. But one of the things that I learned in this experience, first the training for it, and then afterwards the actual running of the race. And it wasn't just a race; it was almost 4. Well, I live in Europe, right? So it was 5 kilometers, and it was 10 different obstacles. So had to either move sandbags or lift sandbags, had to climb over different obstacles, had to go through kind of like jungle gyms, kind of like a kindergarten or preschool or primary school type of playground course. But of course, it was more intense. Spartan race, that's what I did. I loved it, but I'll tell you something. I realized with the training, but also as I was actually participating, and I got to it happened twice. I got to 2 points along the way where I was physically very tired, but mentally, that kept me going. There was a mental toughness. And that's really the theme that I want to just talk about for today in this Saturday session. Mental toughness. Men, this is what you really need. You need this more than anything else for an effective, not just reboot, but an effective recovery. And the only way that you get to that mental toughness, see, because it could be part of your character, it can be part of your personality, but not for all of us, right? For others, we need to learn this mental toughness. So how do we get it, right? How do we reach that stage of mental toughness that when we are maybe physically exhausted, or we just we've suffered so many maybe setbacks already that mentally, right? Here's the mental toughness. Mentally, we don't believe that we can actually be successful. How do we reach that when, obviously other guys have? And if you are watching this and you're kind of maybe wondering the same thing, right? You've done 30-day challenges. Gosh, your longest streak of sobriety was, let's say, 2 months, but you just can't get past that, or you can't get past, 31 days if you actually would count it. It's the mental toughness, but the mental toughness begins with habits, positive habits, and consistency in those habits, right? So that's the praying and the meditating in the morning, right? That's the exercise. One of the things that I learned, and I've known this already, but it continually was proven as I was training. If I took a couple extra days off, right, so my body could recover, rather than just that 1 day between doing the different exercises for part of the training, it threw my whole kind of routine off, and my body actually felt it, and so did my brain. Right? When it comes to our recoveries, it's very personal, right? However, there's some similarities. There's some threads that can go through that, and one of them is this consistency. When you don't want to journal, when you do not want to do your fitness, when you do not want to maybe pray or meditate, when you don't want to communicate with your accountability partner, brothers, that's when actually you double down. That's when you do those things, because you are going to remain consistent. And through the consistency of your habit, you're going to grow mental toughness. So then when it gets to the next level, right, after that reboot, during the rewiring of the neurochemicals, right? So I'm talking now, half a year, a year and a half, and you think everything's great. You're still being careful not to become overconfident, right? Because arrogance is the killer here for us. We know this, right? We know this. Well, but when you get to those points, the mental toughness is what's going to keep you going. It's going to push you past that border, that little boundary that exists. And it's so important. And it was something that just really struck home for me. 2 parts along the course that I was running, and I just really became overwhelmed. I was tired. It was an incredibly hot day as well. I was tired, I was hot, but I knew that I needed to finish, right? There was a mental toughness there. I visualized, here's the thing, I didn't visualize the actual finish. I visualized the reward, that positive reward that I was going to give myself, which was, it might sound kind of silly enough, but it was going to be a really nice, relaxing shower, right? A little bit of some hot and cold to ease the muscles, and then a really nice nap, a recovery day. Really, a recovery day. This is what I was visualizing. Now, similarly, that mental toughness, when you get to that point, and it can be early, it can be late, it doesn't matter. We're going to get to points continuously in our recovery where we will need this mental toughness. Don't visualize that finish line, right? Don't visualize an actual day. That never works. You know that, right? From previous experiences. Don't visualize day 30, day 92. No. Visualize, though, the reward that you're going to give yourself, and have it be a positive reward. Challenge yourself. See, that's the one thing, that's one of the greatest lies that our addict brain likes to self-sabotage ourselves with, right? First off, it slowly edges us, usually during specific times of our recoveries, right? So in the early reboot stage, right, it could be like around day 14, 15, or maybe it could be around day 100 or something. And you're like, well, I've done so good. I'm just gonna, I'm gonna look at a couple photos, right? Not exactly, porn, but they're suggestive. Lingerie, pictures or whatever. You know what I'm talking about. I'm not going to go into detail because it's not necessary. You know what I mean, right? Well, that's just that type of edging doesn't lead to anything positive. It only leads to disaster, right? So similarly, further on, what's a positive reward? I mean, for me, maybe it doesn't sound like much, but it was something that actually propelled me to keep on going. And it was linked to that mental toughness that I needed. So for you, it could be something like, I'm going to have a really nice steak dinner. I'm going to treat myself to a really nice steak dinner when I pass this next 30 days. And if you're not counting, first off, I don't know necessarily if counting the days is a good thing. However, if you would do it, that could be one way to do to count it. If you don't, then just look at it from the perspective of a particular week, or maybe even a month. I'm going to in the next 3 weeks, I'm going to give myself this as a kind of reward. I'm going to buy the new stereos that stereo set that I need, or the new headphones. Maybe I'm going to upgrade my, I don't know, right? Something could do electronics. You could maybe do with your car, maybe something within your home. I'm going to really buy that nice shirt, or the jeans, or the shoes. You understand what I'm saying? Right? Set a positive reward. Use that reward as the vision of what's going to then keep you going when you reach some difficulties. Because that positive reward, which is going to keep you going, is actually linked to the mental toughness. And the mental toughness, like I said, is linked, it is so important to your consistency of positive habits, of the journaling, of the fitness, or some kind of exercise, of checking in with your accountability partner, or whatever the other activities that have formed these habits. That's important, okay? So mental toughness is key to pushing beyond those small blocks in our recovery. And it doesn't matter if it's past 14 days or if it's past 1 year and 14 days. We're going to need that. We all need that. So mental toughness is tough. Another thing that for some can be positive, can be used in a positive way, would actually be reading or kind of using as a model maybe a specific sports figure, or a military general or leader, or maybe an entire branch of the service. Rangers, Marines. Some of these sports names are kind of retro for you, but a little bit old school, right? Michael Jordan and Wayne Gretzky. These were two big guys for me when I was younger, looking at them, and how their mental toughness, right, was was legendary, in addition to all of the accolades, all of the awards that they were able to receive. So maybe that would be something that you can do. Choose a sports figure, choose a military branch, and kind of model a little bit of your mental toughness on that particular person. Another part of the mental toughness, as I said, linked with specifically with your consistency of habits, is a willingness to be vulnerable in choosing a new habit that you want to explore, but maybe you haven't yet for whatever the reason would be. It may be looked upon by you as a risk. Take that risk. Explore what that habit would be. Okay? So, in this session, it was really only one theme: mental toughness. How can you achieve the mental toughness? Consistency in your daily habits. How to create positive daily habits. You've already been doing this in your reboot or past your reboot, now in your full recovery. You're doing some form of exercise. You're doing some form of journaling. You have an accountability partner. And maybe there are some other things that you are doing as well. Keep on doing that. And if you've reached a point where it just seems really difficult, you can't get past that small little block or boundary, then that's when the mental toughness is useful. And how to create that mental toughness, we can use sports figures, or we can use military branches, or maybe even stories from military, or stories from sports to motivate us to do that. And once you push back, beyond that boundary, give yourself a reward, a positive reward, something that you'd can, it's measurable and you can reach it. Measurable, you can attain it. All right. So with that, I wish you an awesome rest of your Saturday, an awesome weekend. Saturday Sessions is back. Thanks for watching. I'll see you next week.